Good morning to all the students of class 8. Today I'll be explaining you Anglo-Maratha relations and first Maratha war. So the Maratha Confederacy was very powerful. The huge empire was ruled by the Maratha chiefs like Holkar at Indore, Scindia at Gwalior, Bonsal at Nagpur and Gaikwad at Vadodara. So underline the name of the Maratha chiefs. Holkar at Indore, Scindia at Gwalior, Bonsal at Nagpur and Gaikwad at Vadodara. At the head of the confederacy was Peshwa. Peshwa means Prime Minister at Pune. And Chhatrapati means kings. Chhatrapati at Satara was the nominal head of Maratha kingdom. The first Maratha war took place between 1775 and 1782. So when 1775 to 1782, when the English interfered in politics. So the first Maratha war took place because of the English interfered in politics, and it took place in 1775 and 1782. At last, the Treaty of Salbai in 1782 was signed between Peshwa and English, and as result, English got 12 lakh rupees. Okay, English got 12 lakh rupees. Next, Second Maratha War. In the Second Maratha War, Peshwa Bajirao II was defeated by the British, and the Treaty of Bassein was signed between Peshwa Bajirao II and English in 1802, and Peshwa agreed to keep and pay 26 lakh rupees, and Peshwa accepted the overlordship of British. Okay, and after that, British reinstalled him to the throne of Pune in 1803. So in 1802, the Treaty of Bassein was signed between English and Peshwa Bajirao II. Okay, and after that, so after the sign of Treaty of Bassein in 1802, the Treaty of Bassein signed between Bajirao II and the English, and Peshwa agreed to pay 26 lakh rupees, and Peshwa accepted the overlordship of British, and after that British reinstalled him to the throne of Pune in 1803. Next, Third Maratha War. Third Maratha War took place between 1817 to 1818. Okay, and under the Governor General Lord Hastings. Okay, so the Third Maratha War took place between 1817 to 1818 under the Governor General Lord Hastings. As result of the Third Battle of Maratha, this war marked the end of Maratha Confederacy. So the Maratha war Third Maratha War marked the end of Maratha Confederacy. This was the last Maratha War, and this marked the end of the Maratha Confederacy. Okay. Next, the Peshwa's territory was annexed and his office was abolished. And Bonsal state north of the Narmada was annexed by British, and Holkar was lost half of his territory, and Scindia was also forced to give up Ajmer. So as result of the Third Maratha War, this is very important. This war marked the end of the Maratha Confederacy, and Peshwa's territory was annexed and his office was also abolished, and Bonsal states north of the Narmada was annexed by British. Holkar who lost half of his territory, and Scindia forced to give up Ajmer. And next point is the Subsidiary Alliance. Subsidiary Alliance was introduced by Lord Wellesley, the Governor General of India, Lord Wellesley in 1798. So Lord Wellesley introduced the subsidiary alliance when in 1798. So it was imposed on the weaker state of India. Okay, so it was imposed on the weaker states of India, and the British took responsibility of protecting the state from internal and external danger. So which Indian state accepted this alliance? The British took the responsibility of protecting the state from internal and external danger. Okay, and the state had to pay for the maintenance of the British army and kept by the British. So which Indian state accepted this subsidiary alliance? They had to pay the maintenance of the British army kept by British, and the Indian ruler could not employ any non English or any European in his services. So which Indian state accepted this alliance? They could not employ any non English or any European in his services. The outcome of the alliance, what were the outcome of this alliance? So first, Indian states, the ruler who signed the alliance actually became the subordinate state and lost its independent foreign policy. So which Indian state accepted this alliance and or signed this alliance? They became the subordinate state. Okay, they became the subordinate state, and they lost their independence. Next, British army were responsible for the maintenance of the law and order in their territory. Because which Indian state accepted this alliance? They had to pay the maintenance of the army kept by British. So British army also responsible for the maintenance and of law and order in their territory. Nizam was the first to accept the alliance in 1798. So Nizam was the first to accept the alliance in 1798. Okay, underline. And after Nizam, Nawab of Awadh was accepted the alliance in 1801. Next, the Anglo-Sikh relations. As seen earlier, the downfall of the Mughal Empire encouraged the growth of the independent Sikh. Okay, so after the downfall of the Mughal Empire, encouraged the growth of independent Sikh, and Maharaja Ranjit Singh united and founded the Sikh kingdom in Punjab. Okay, who founded? Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Because the Sikh empire was very strong, so Lord Minto, the Governor General, he sent Charles Metcalfe to court of Ranjit Singh, and they signed Treaty of Amritsar. And by this treaty, both sides agreed not to attack each other. Okay, by the Treaty of Amritsar, both sides agreed not to attack each other. But after the death of Ranjit Singh, Sikh army became very powerful and the civil authorities could not control it. The annexation of Sindh by the British alarmed the Sikh army, was encouraged them to cross the river in 1845, and the first Sikh war started between Sikhs and British. And as result, the Treaty of Lahore was signed between Sikhs and British in 1846. Okay, in 1846, the Treaty of Lahore was signed between Sikhs and British. Next, the second Sikh war. In the second Sikh war, a rebellion led by the Diwan Mulraj of Multan. The Diwan Mulraj of Multan broke out, and two English officers were killed. Because of two British officers were killed, the Governor General Lord Dalhousie declared war against Sikhs in 1848. And the second and the second Sikh war started between English and Sikhs. Okay, so when the two English officers were killed, Lord Dalhousie declared the war against Sikhs in 1848, and as a result, Punjab was annexed to the British Empire. Next, the Anglo-Burmese relation. First Burmese War. What was the reason of First Burmese War? Because towards the beginning of the 18th century, the Burmese kings began a policy of expansion, and in 1823, the Burmese occupied Shahpuri, a small island of Bay of Bengal. This alarmed the British in India, and they declared war of Burma in 1824. So first Burmese were started in 1824 between British and Burma, and as a result the Burmese gave up all claims over Assam. Okay, Burmese gave up all claims over Assam, and commercial treaty was concluded between the British and Burma. Next, Second Burmese War. What was the reason of Second Burmese War? Lord Dalhousie, the governor of India, was not at peace due to the French activities in the Sea of Southeast Asia. It was reported that the Burmese ruler was ill-treated the English merchant. So main reason of the Second Burmese War was the Burmese ruler was ill-treating the English merchants. Okay, ill-treating the English merchants. So Dalhousie declared the war uh, on Burma in 1852. So what was the reason? Because Burmese ruler was ill-treating the English merchants, and for this reason Dalhousie declared the war on Burma in 1852. Next, the Third Burmese War. King Thibaw of Burma wanted to help from French against English. Okay, so the king of Burma, Thibaw, he wanted to help from the French against British. Okay, and this was the main reason for the Third Burmese War. And King Thibaw imposed a heavy fine of 52 lakh rupees on British company, and as a result the king of Burma was easily defeated and taken prisoner and sent to exile in India. So the main reason of Third Burmese War was the king wanted to help from French against English, and this was the main reason behind the Third Burmese War. And as a result, king was defeated by the British, and he imposed a heavy fine of 52 lakh rupees on a British company. Next, Anglo-Gurkha relations. So the Gurkhas, a tribe in Western Himalayas. Gurkhas was a tribe in Western Himalayas, and they established their hold on Nepal in 1768. When 1768, their attempts at further expansion brought them a war with English in 1814. So Gurkhas was a tribe in Western Himalayas, and they established their hold over Nepal when in 1768 their attempts at further expansion brought them a war against British in 1814, and ultimately the Gurkhas was defeated by the British. Okay, so who were Gurkhas? Gurkhas was the tribe in the Western Himalayas, and they established their hold over Nepal in 1768, and their attempts at further expansion brought them at war against English, and they were defeated by English. Okay, the Bhutanese frequently raided the India territory under the British rule. The Bhutanese also frequently raided the Indian territory under the British rule, and the Viceroy Sir John Lawrence sent British army to Bhutan in 1864 in order to teach them a lesson. Okay, and they were defeated by the British. So Bhutan is also frequently raided in India territory under the British rule, and Sir John Lawrence, he was the Viceroy of India, and he sent the British army to Bhutan in 1864 in order to teach them a lesson, and the Bhutanese were defeated by the British. And next, Anglo-Afghan relations. Anglo-Afghan relations were to a large extent guided by the fear of spread of Russian influence in the West. Okay, and because the Afghans were very strong, so the British failed to annex Afghan and adopted the policy of good relations with Afghan. Because the British failed to annex Afghanistan, and they adopted a new policy of good relations with Afghan. And last, Sindh War. Sindh was annexed by British, and Sindh armies were defeated and exiled. And Sindh was annexed to the British Empire in 1843. The annexation of Sindh displayed the most truth from of British imperialism. So in the Sindh were defeated by the British, and Sindh was annexed by the British. And after the annexation of Sindh, displayed the most crude from the British imperialism. Okay, students. After listening to the explanation, read the chapter again. Thank you.